So I'm scrolling through Facebook. I get a flashback to college when I see this vial of testosterone cypionate 200 being advertised at a anti-aging clinic endorsed by a celebrity. That was part of my cycle, the stack that I tried the one time in college. And it's funny, one of my friends spent 6 years in a federal penitentiary for RICO, racketeering, for his involvement in an anti-aging clinic, I don't know, probably a decade ago or so. And now it's just celebrity endorsed all over the place on Facebook. And there is an extremely valuable lesson here that I want you to consider as you decide what the right path is for you, especially for those who are just beginning their comeback story, all right? I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do, but this is definitely not any form of endorsement of illicit drugs, performance-enhancing drugs, or even prescribed, legal, doctor-advised, right? This is a lesson that comes from real-world experience that is something you need to consider as you decide what the best path is for you. So junior year of college, I started learning how to strength train. And, you know, I was around plenty of buddies that did it, and a group of them back in my hometown, a few hours from my college town, had started dabbling with steroids. And, you know, I mean, everybody, it looked cool. Everybody was big. The guys I was around in college were big. You start to figure out who was juicing and who wasn't. But that thing, you know, whether you see it on the celebrities and you admire it, whether you want to have that image for women, that's, you know, that was a lot of what it was at that age. The outcome of getting there as fast as possible so you could have the physique, the whole focus was producing the outcome. Now, years later, what I've figured out, I have not been doing any sort of peptides, TRT, steroids, anything like that since I started my comeback 4.5 years ago. It'd been decades since I lifted weights. I was skinny, fat, out of shape, all that. And what I've learned is that, you know, when you see somebody who is legitimately fit, there's this quiet confidence, this certain element of swagger that they have internalized. And, you know, you look at them, you think it's from being jacked, from standing out, and it's not. It's from the fact that they know internally, they look in the mirror every single day and they see the person that always did the workout, that stopped putting the bad stuff in their body, that continued to move towards the direction that they wanted to go, but they became that person who was strong, who was resilient. And I got another cop here looking at me. They were the person that was going to do hard, uncomfortable things, whether anybody saw them do it or not, whether there was any glory, whether they had the physique. They had developed the habit, and they showed themselves every day who they were, and they were something different than most of the people they were around. And the real lesson that I've learned in this journey, now that the physique is really starting to show, that people really do notice the, you know, the posture, the veins, the muscle tone. You know, I'm not huge. I'm not excessively strong. I don't ego lift in the gym. I've had over 30 breaks in my life. I'm having some back issues. I've got joints, surgeries. You know, I'm not in there to move a bunch of heavy weight. I'm in there to build myself by having good form, going really intense, but, you know, relatively lightweight compared to what I could actually do. You know, but I still go to failure. So the thing that's so valuable is that we are proving to ourselves every day who we really are. But I think the biggest downfall, one of the biggest downfalls to enhancing performance when it's not necessary, prematurely, or, you know, going to these, they are selling a product for profit now. They're going to tell you it's a miracle drug. They're going to convince you that you can get blood work. They're going to find a way to justify it. But the story you tell yourself when you decide to enhance your performance before it is truly, truly necessary is that you're now showing yourself that you don't have in you, deep in you, what it takes to do this. You aren't that strong, that badass, that resilient. You need some training wheels. So right now, for me, this journey of fitness is so much deeper than the physique that it has produced and it continues to develop. This is me showing myself every day who I am, becoming the man who is really qualified to lead you and help you turn your life into a better direction, make the next step, start to get that momentum moving forward so that a few years down the road, you can be in a position like me. Maybe you'll also be helping people come up to where you're at. And this thing can really grow together. This can be a cultural shift when we start to see how much we can do and become by pushing through hard, uncomfortable things, by committing to something and not missing no matter what. And so, for me, I haven't had any of the blood work done that would even tell me if if they could justify testosterone. Man, I've seen, a fitness influencer, a young guy that I liked watching early on in my journey. He made a big deal about being all natty. His name is Alec Eubank. And, I kind of enjoyed seeing the journey, but I also saw him find a way to justify adding TRT. I mean, this is a lifelong commitment. Your body shuts down. You quit making testosterone. This young kid that had just a perfect physique, that already had, Lamborghinis and followers and everything, it wasn't good enough. And so now this dude who had already earned his way there was still something missing in him. And now this man who is far beyond where I'm at with his physique, far before he started his TRT at a very young age, has now shown himself that nope, he's not good enough without adding something that he can't do on his own. Everything I need is within, and everything you need is within. So I really want you to consider, especially at the beginning of your comeback, if this is new and early, man, let me tell you, that was not healthy. What I chose to do in college, I had to have some tests and some things to make sure that the things that I did to my body then were benign, were not real medical problems. And I think there might be a little bit of safeguards to that now, but man, this is a high profit, fast turning industry. Convince everybody they need this. I worked in the cannabis industry. That was the same way. That was like, it was advertised as an absolute miracle drug in every way, shape, and form. And there are definitely certain circumstances where cannabis is highly medically valuable. There are also circumstances where it will completely destroy a person's life if they have the wrong character, if they approach life in the wrong way, if they use it in the wrong way. And that's the same with this new vibe, with TRT, with peptides. I don't think a lot of these labs, when I've done some learning about peptides, I've got some tendonitis issues because I've just, I trained too hard earlier when I didn't know what I was doing. I made wrong moves, and I've never gotten 100% past it. And, maybe some peptide injections might actually be useful for that. But when you listen to the guys who really know about this, that are deep in it, they're telling you, man, you got to tread a lot more lightly than all this stuff that's being marketed right now. And when it comes to testosterone, injecting an exogenous hormone into your body, there are both subconscious implications for the man you see in the mirror, as well as potential health issues. So maybe it is time for you in TRT, but I almost guarantee that if you're within the first year or two of your journey, even if you are extremely low on testosterone, the best thing you can do for yourself is build yourself up first, to show yourself that the man in the mirror is strong, is capable, will push through hard times, will get up and do his workouts, will not miss, will make that commitment and stay with it. You have to build that part of yourself first. I believe that so deeply, and I hope you take this message to heart. So, I love you. No matter what path you take, I hope that it's the best one for you, and we're going to keep on talking about all these things because you know what? I've paid a lot of dues. I've produced a lot of receipts, and I've still got a long ways to go in this journey. But this life has all these wild things that have happened. they all have meaning and purpose, and we're going to continue to raise ourselves and each other up together, make this world a better place, one day at a time.